Hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. You're about to discover something that might completely change how you see the world around you, and more importantly, how you make decisions every single day. We're exploring one of the most eye-opening psychology books of the 21st century, The Paradox of Choice: Why More is Less by Barry Schwartz. Published in 2004, this groundbreaking work challenged everything we thought we knew about freedom, happiness, and the modern consumer experience. Barry Schwartz is a professor of psychology who spent decades studying how people make decisions. What he discovered will probably surprise you and might just change how you approach everyday life. Here's what makes this book so powerful. It explains why you feel exhausted after shopping, why you can't pick a movie on Netflix, why you second-guess your purchases, and why, despite having more options than any generation in human history, you might feel less satisfied than your grandparents ever did. Over the next 20 minutes, I'll guide you through Schwartz's fascinating insights in a clear, conversational way. We'll explore the psychology behind decision-making, discover why abundance can actually make us miserable, and learn practical strategies to reclaim your peace of mind in an overwhelming world. This isn't just theory, it's deeply practical wisdom you can apply immediately. Whether you're choosing a career, a partner, a product, or just what to have for dinner, understanding the paradox of choice will transform how you think about decisions. So get comfortable, and let's begin this journey into one of the most counterintuitive ideas in modern psychology: a mystery at the supermarket. Picture this. It's a regular Tuesday evening. You walk into your local supermarket with one simple mission: buy jam for tomorrow's breakfast. Should take 30 seconds, right? Wrong. You stand there, frozen, staring at an entire wall of jam: strawberry, raspberry, blueberry, mixed berry, organic berry, sugar-free berry, artisan small batch berry. There's apricot, peach, and something called summer harvest medley. 24 different jars stare back at you. Your brain starts to hurt. 10 minutes later, you walk out empty-handed, deciding you'll just have cereal instead. Sound familiar? Welcome to the Paradox of Choice. Today, we're exploring the paradox of choice: Why More is Less by psychologist Barry Schwartz. This book reveals a counterintuitive truth about modern life. The thing we think makes us free, having endless options, might actually be making us miserable. More choices don't always mean more happiness. In fact, Schwartz argues they often lead to anxiety, paralysis, and dissatisfaction. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll unpack this paradox, understand why it happens, and discover practical ways to navigate our overwhelming world of options. Act 1. The Choice Explosion. Schwartz begins by taking us on a journey through time. In 1960, your grandparents walked into a store needing jeans. The shopkeeper said, "We've got blue jeans in your size." Transaction complete. They walked out happy. Flash forward to today, you need jeans. The salesperson approaches. "What are you looking for? Skinny? Slim? Regular? Relaxed? Boyfriend? Girlfriend? Mom jeans? Dad jeans? High-rise? Mid-rise? Low-rise? Distressed? Raw denim? Stretch? Non-stretch? Dark wash? Light wash?" What happened between then and now? An explosion of choice. Schwartz documents this phenomenon across every corner of consumer life. The average supermarket now stocks 175 salad dressings, 40 types of toothpaste, 285 varieties of cookies. Cable TV offers hundreds of channels. Streaming services provide thousands of movies. Cell phone plans come in countless configurations of minutes, data, and features. We've been told this abundance represents progress, the ultimate achievement of capitalism and freedom. But Schwartz presents compelling evidence that all these choices aren't delivering the happiness they promise. Instead, they're creating what he calls a tyranny of choice that leaves us anxious, exhausted, and oddly unsatisfied. The psychology: your brain on overload. Schwartz dives into the psychology of decision-making to explain what's happening inside our heads. Every choice requires mental work. Your brain must gather information, evaluate options, predict outcomes, and commit to a decision. This process consumes real cognitive energy, what psychologists call decision fatigue. Think of your brain as having a battery that powers decision-making. Each choice drains it a little. By evening, after hundreds of micro-decisions throughout the day, that battery is depleted. This explains why you can negotiate a complex business deal at 10 a.m. but have a meltdown choosing between pizza and Chinese food at 8 p.m. But the problem goes deeper than mere exhaustion. When faced with too many options, several psychological phenomena kick in. First, there's choice paralysis. Research shows that when people face too many options, they often freeze and make no choice at all. In one famous study, shoppers were more likely to buy jam when presented with 6 flavors than when shown 24 flavors. The abundance actually prevented purchase. Second, there's the fear of missing out. With so many options, your brain whispers, "What if there's a better option you didn't see? What if you choose wrong?" This fear can be paralyzing. It's why you can scroll Netflix for 30 minutes without choosing anything, eventually watching reruns of a show you've seen 3 times. Schwartz argues that what we thought would maximize our freedom, unlimited choice, actually constrains it by overwhelming our capacity to decide effectively. Character study: Maximizers versus Satisficers. One of Schwartz's most influential contributions is distinguishing between 2 personality types when it comes to decision-making. Maximizers seek the absolute best option. When buying a camera, they research for weeks, create comparison spreadsheets, read hundreds of reviews, consult experts, and join online forums. Even after purchasing, they continue researching to confirm they made the optimal choice. They're haunted by the possibility they missed something better. Satisficers, a term combining satisfy and suffice, have clear standards, but once those standards are met, they stop searching. They want a good camera that meets their needs at a reasonable price. Once they find it with solid reviews, they buy it and move on. Here's the crucial finding from Schwartz's research. Satisficers are consistently happier than maximizers. Despite potentially making better choices on paper, maximizers pay a psychological price. They experience more regret, second-guessing, and dissatisfaction. They're always wondering if they missed the perfect option. Satisficers, meanwhile, feel content with their good-enough choices and spend their mental energy actually enjoying what they selected rather than questioning whether something better exists. The book suggests that in our world of overwhelming options, learning to satisfy rather than maximize is key to psychological well-being. The haunting of regret. Schwartz explores regret as one of the most painful emotional consequences of excessive choice. Imagine buying a sweater you love for $60. You feel great about it until 3 days later you spot a nearly identical one for $50. Suddenly, your perfectly good sweater feels tainted. You made a mistake. You overpaid. The joy evaporates. Schwartz calls this anticipated regret. The problem intensifies with more options because you can vividly imagine all the alternatives you rejected. With 2 options, you might never know if the other was better. With 50 options, you're guaranteed to discover better alternatives after deciding. In our hyper-connected world, with price comparison sites and social media constantly showing us what we missed, we're bombarded with evidence of roads not taken. This makes regret unavoidable. Even worse, fear of future regret can prevent us from deciding at all. Schwartz points to online dating as an example. With thousands of potential matches available, people struggle to commit to anyone. They're perpetually haunted by the possibility that someone better might be one swipe away. The fear of regret literally prevents them from pursuing relationships. The paradox: more options should reduce regret by improving our chances of finding what we want. Instead, they amplify regret by showing us everything we didn't choose. The curse of rising expectations. Another key insight from Schwartz: abundant choice raises our expectations to unrealistic levels. When faced with 3 ice cream flavors, you expect one to taste decent. But with 31 flavors, you expect perfection. After all, with so many options, the ideal flavor must exist, right? This creates a devastating gap between expectation and reality. Schwartz argues that abundant choice raises the bar for good enough. We demand perfection because abundant options make it seem achievable. But perfection remains rare, leaving us chronically disappointed with objectively good outcomes. The cruel irony: we have objectively better options available than ever before, but we're subjectively less satisfied than when we had fewer options. Philosophical interlude: freedom's limits. Schwartz pauses to address a crucial question. Isn't choice fundamental to freedom and human dignity? Absolutely. He's not arguing against choice itself. Having no choice is oppressive. The ability to direct our own lives matters deeply. The problem arises when we assume more choice always equals freedom. Schwartz uses an analogy. Imagine freedom as a dial from 0 to 100. At 0, no choice, life is tyranny. But contrary to popular belief, cranking it to 100, infinite choice, isn't optimal either. There's a sweet spot, perhaps at 40 or 60, where we have meaningful autonomy without overwhelming complexity. Consider the difference between 3 job offers versus 100. 3 offers allow thoughtful evaluation and meaningful choice. 100 offers create paralysis, ensure you'll miss good options simply because you can't evaluate them all, and guarantee you'll wonder if you chose correctly. Schwartz argues we should reserve abundant